Oh, hey folks, how's everybody doing out there? Now I'm not looking at this laundry. I'm actually trying to see Mount Riot off in the distance. Can't see it today, it's too hazy. On a clear day, you can see that thing over there, just ominous looking. I can't see Mount Pinatubo. Obviously, that thing cooked off back in 1991 and just devastated this area. But I can see Mount Riot on a clear day. It's a beautiful, beautiful stratovolcano hanging out over there. Just to give you context where I'm at, I'm in Angeles City. Angeles City is basically sandwiched between Mount Riot over there and Mount Pinatubo over there, right, sort of right in the middle is Angeles City. I'm in between two huge volcanoes. If you haven't studied that event about Mount Pinatubo, it lowered the global temperature by 1 degree for 10 years. It's a pretty big deal, right? It just didn't affect people here locally. It affected the entire Earth. Why am I talking about this? Well, I don't know, for whatever reason, occasionally, you know, I guess it's, well, I know exactly why. Because I'm always joking about doomsday preppers, right? So, you know, I got 3 chickens in the freezer. I'm like, damn, doomsday prepper here. Because we usually don't keep a lot of food. Southeast Asia, folks don't have a big freezer or a big refrigerator full of food. They typically go to the market every day. Now, as the middle class comes on up, you know, people have more food in the house. But traditionally, go to the market on a daily basis, get what you need to prepare for that day. So when I have 3 whole chickens in there, or I buy, you know, 5 boxes of Knorr chicken cubes, or even if I buy a case of beer and fill up the rest, doomsday preppers comes to mind. Folks, I got 2 big old bags of rice in there. I think I got 20 kilos of rice right now. I mean, I'm talking doomsday preppers. So obviously when I talk about this on videos, Google's voice recognition is obviously picking it up. It's going into the algorithm, and the algorithm thinks that I'm interested in doomsday preppers. So I start seeing these on my feed. So do I think that AI is so intelligent? No, I don't. Because AI thinks that I'm into doomsday preppers. AI doesn't understand the jokes. So I'm not impressed by AI right now. I'm not impressed by AI when I'm in the Philippines, my kids are watching cartoons, and the ads between the cartoons are Indian music. Ain't nobody here from India, and ain't nobody here listens to Indian music. I have no idea. So I'm not impressed by AI, not yet. When Google's algorithm can play an advertisement that's relative to what my children are watching, then I might be impressed. But Indian music, anyhow, another topic. So anyhow, these doomsday preppers videos come across my feed, and after this video, there'll probably be, my gosh, I'll get bombarded by them for the next week or so. And sometimes I click on the clip and I'm like, most folks in America, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. I mean, I realize it's a I don't know, multi-billion-dollar industry. People prepping, people selling prepping goods, selling MREs. Personally, I never want to eat another MRE in my life, so I would not ever pay for one. But anyhow, so it's a huge industry. I got it. And it's fun. I think it's fun for people to prep, and maybe the better word is hoard, because the strategy of prepping for most of the time is flawed. So I see these videos anyhow, and I get a little tickled. I get a little cracked up by them. And I guess it goes back to, it's sort of like religion, right? If religion makes you feel at ease, and feel comfortable and just feel safe and secure. I think that's why a lot of people turn to religion. I think prepping is the same way, because as I said in my first book, fear makes money. All right, fear is the number one motivator to cause you to either buy something, don't buy something, live in a certain area, don't live in a certain area, take a certain medication, don't take a certain medication. Fear is the number one motivator. And governments and corporations, they know this, and that's what they prey on. And especially for the weak-minded, fear causes them to fall in line and do exactly what the nice people at the nice government tells them to do. So if what's called prepping, at least in America it's called prepping, if prepping causes you to feel secure or just to feel at ease, okay, I got it, and I think that's why a lot of people do it. But when things really break down, and I mean break down, I'm not talking about in America, this little mild lockdown in 2020 with the corona. You can't buy dog food at Walmart, but you can buy onions. That's not a true breakdown. And that little situation boosted all these prepping companies, these businesses that sell all that stuff based on fear. I mean, they did well. Look at the RV industry. Everybody went out and bought an RV. The dealership couldn't get enough of them in 2020. Imagine now there's nothing but foreclosures. I don't know that for a fact, but fear made people go out and buy RVs. It's not because they wanted to go camping. It's because they were scared. Anyhow, let this aircraft fly over. Had military jets flying all day. I'm right here in Angeles City, next to Clark Air Base. Clark International, whatever the official name is, Clark Air Base. You got jets flying. You got U.S. troops, Marines, north of here. All over the Philippines right now, but you got some war games going on. And so a lot of military jet traffic coming in and out of Clark today. Okay, so anyhow, fear makes money. Fear makes money. That's another video for another time, but I guess the main point of this video is that there's only really one strategy when it comes to surviving chaos, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's armed conflict between two nations, militaries, whether it's more local or regional, where there's riots going on in your city, or if Mount Riot over there decides to erupt and start dumping tons of ash on my head right now. There's only really one strategy, and it's not to be sitting in your suburban home in suburbia, sitting on 3,000 rolls of toilet paper and, pallets of bottled water. That's not going to help you. It's not the strategy. The only strategy that's going to work for you to survive is to get off the X, is to move, is to leave, is to put time and distance between the chaos. I guess the preppers call it bug out. Everybody wants to pack a bug out bag. However you want to refer to it. You have to put time and distance between whatever that incident, that scenario, that setting, or that atmosphere is that can kill you. Your 3,000 rolls of toilet paper in the basement ain't gonna help you if an artillery round takes out your neighbor's house. You're going to move. That's what's going to happen. Just take a look at Kiev. Isn't it funny how when this shit cranked off, Kiev became Kiev? I don't know if I can understand that. You could be sitting in Kiev a few years ago, prepping, and when that first Russian rocket hit your apartment building, you're leaving. No matter how much shit you're sitting on that can sustain you for 2 years, 3 years. Oh, I can eat off of this shit for 3 years. I don't have to leave my apartment for 5 years. Once that arty round slams into your building, 3 floors up, you're leaving. Trust me, you want to leave. You're praying, please just let me leave. You're not gonna be concerned about your 3,000 rolls of toilet paper and your 500 cans of chicken soup, Campbell soup. You're going. If this volcano cooks off, what is my strategy? Is to get the fuck out of here, ahead of the curve, ahead of the masses. Get off the X. This thing cranks off with China and rockets start flying. I'm on the island of Luzon. If you don't look at a map, here's Luzon. Go a little bit north, here's Batanes. A little bit north is Taiwan. So all this shit kicks off, it's going to affect the island of Luzon. Once it gets closer to that time frame, we're out of here. Yeah, it's kind of silly to be here right now with all this shit going on. But if it starts to heat up and one rocket flies, we're leaving. We're not staying. It don't matter how much shit we have squirreled away here. The true way to survive is to get away from the rockets, to get away from the bullets, to get away from the explosions. 3,000 rolls of toilet paper ain't gonna protect you from a 155 round. I assure you. So, again, that's the purpose of this crazy video. I've been drinking beer. It's not scripted, but I did take a couple notes. Let me just start on my notes here. I started to do this video outside and the jets were flying, screwing up the audio. I said, damn fool, get out there. It adds realism to what you're talking about. But since I got out here, the jets have went silent. So, I guess one analogy I use is that if the Earth is about to be impacted by a huge asteroid, which is a planet killer, where it's going to destroy the planet, there's no strategy where you're going to survive on Earth. How do you survive? You have to get off the Earth. That's the importance of us becoming a multi-planetary species. Because if there's a huge rock coming this way, we can't deflect it, and it's going to take out the Earth. The only way for humanity to survive is to be somewhere else, off the X. Not on the space station, because if it's big enough, it'll take that out too. Why the space station is orbiting the Earth. We have to be on another planet. So I think that pretty much solves the argument of what are you going to do, where are you going to... No, you just have to get away from what's about to kill you that day. You have to stop thinking about a 10-year planning horizon, which is typically smart, but your 10-year prepping plan means nothing if you get hit with an artillery round and you're dead. Okay? It means nothing if somebody cooks off a nuke and you're about to be irradiated and you're going to die in a couple weeks anyhow. You got to leave. Or if that hungry mob comes out of the cities, 2 million, 3 million hungry people, they're going to overrun your little suburban home. Okay? One fat guy with an M14 is not going to fend off a hungry mob. You might take out a few in the first wave, but you're going to get overrun. They're coming for your food. They're hungry. So, again, you have to leave. Now think about it. To take these major cities, have 2 million people. There's no food that's grown there. It's all brought in, right? So if the food stops flowing, and don't say, oh, well, we just went. No, that's not a true breakdown. It was not a true breakdown. Just because the price of pork went up and you couldn't get ground beef, no, there's still plenty of food. People didn't starve. Here, you went to the markets were full of food. Now, people had no money to buy the food. But I guarantee you that if they had gotten hungry enough, they would have overrun those markets. And then the markets are done because nobody's bringing more shit in when a hungry mob overruns the market. You see how that works? So you live in the suburbs, you got a basement, 3,000 rolls of toilet paper, and 5,000 cans of chicken soup. You think, oh, I can live here for 6 years. I ain't got to leave my house. You're not understanding what happens when society truly breaks down. Laws become nothing but ink on paper that nobody cares about. Nobody's coming to help you. You're on your own. And if you're 60 years old and you think you're going to defend your house, it's not going to happen. You're going to get overrun. They're coming to get your food. Society will break down to that point. It will become very primal. So no, you're not going to sit in that house in the suburbs for 6 years and eat off of your stash in the basement, because there's 2 million hungry motherfuckers down in the city that ain't got money to prep. And once that food runs out within a matter of days, they're coming for the suburbs. Why? It's within their reach. It's within their scope. They got a tank of gas to get to the suburbs. So these are just things to think about, right? If you're gonna hoard, prep, hoard, same shit. If you're gonna hoard, the only safe place to do it is at the top of a damn mountain, away from any population center. So you're out of range because the gas stations are gonna dry up, right? So you figure all these people in the cities and population centers, what's the range? It's a tank of gas, maybe 2. You get outside that range of 2 million hungry people, and you get on top of a mountain and you start storing your stuff in your underground school bus, your shipping container, or what have you. And you're so far up in elevation with maybe a nice stream nearby, a natural water source. That's where hoarding makes sense. A, you've got a water source. B, you're away from all these people that are going to be so hungry they'd probably be too tired to climb the damn mountain anyhow. And if they do start coming up that mountain, you got a fatal funnel on that road. You can pick them off, especially if there's one road in. They're not going to go mountain climbing. So you stand a chance of protecting your stock of food. You're not going to do it in the suburbs. You're going to have to move at some point. All right? Got to get away from the hungry people. So, already talked about laws, meaningless. Just ink on paper. Nobody gives a shit. You take all them law books and you use that for toilet paper. No need to buy toilet paper and stock that in your basement. Just use every book in the house. Go to a law library. Let's see. Forward planning. If society truly breaks down in a certain area, I mean, look at anywhere where there's been true armed conflict. Nobody's thinking on a 10-year planning horizon. That's done. They're thinking about, how do I get food today? How do I survive these bombings today? These air raids. And it's a totally different thought process. So let's go back to the worst case scenario where the food supply chain stops. At some point, people are going to make their way to these farms. They're going to raid the farms. Then there's no more farms. There's no more food coming next year. They just raided it. You have these long-term plans, but if the chaos comes to you, again, your only option to survive is to get off the X, is to get away from the conflict. Entire areas maybe come off limits. Somebody cooks off a nuke, whether it's a big one or a little tack nuke. You can't live in that area. Look at Chernobyl. Look at Fukushima, right? So imagine you're prepping in those two areas. Now all of a sudden the entire region is radioactive. You can't live there. What's your option? Get the hell out of there. All right, you got to get off the X, right? All that prepping was for nothing. Okay, that shit's gonna stay in place. The only way you're gonna survive and live is throw your backpack on, get in your car, however you can get the hell out of that area and never look back. Don't worry about that rice that you're gonna eat 10 years on. You gotta worry about, am I gonna live or die today? If markets get overrun, a lot of times they're not gonna come back because it's a danger area. Hell, a good example, look at stores in America. Walmart stores closing that have been raided through riots. They're scared about security. Why would you do it again? They'll get raided again, right? I think prepping for 99% of everybody, especially, I think a big part of the preppers, I don't know what the demographics are, but a lot of people living in suburban America, prepping, putting all this shit in your basement. I think for most of you, you're just wasting your money. You're wasting your money because you're not going to be able to protect your basement from, a couple dozen hundred people. If they're truly there to take your supplies, you're going to get overrun. So it doesn't make sense. Especially when we just experienced this scamdemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, and the food supply chain still flowed. All right, nobody starved to death. Yeah, they might have got a little bit hungry, but it still flowed. So I think 99% of you, you're wasting your time and your money when you should be focusing on, I live here in this area. If shit breaks down, where am I going to get away from this area? Whether it's north, south, east, or west, what plan of action do I have to put enough time and distance between me and this catastrophic event that I can live? Look at Florida. Last year I lived in Florida. I think we had 5 hurricanes. It was just back-to-back hurricanes. Tore up Florida. I can't remember. It was 03, 04. And when you live around hurricanes, you realize how fragile the gas stations are, the fuel situation. Because once they shut down those ports and those tankers stop running, the gas station's out of gas almost immediately. That day, the next day. And there's no gasoline. So everybody who's trying to evacuate, who wait till the last minute, not only are the interstates going northbound clogged up, but there's no gas, there's no fuel. You can see that in all these videos. I mean, look at Katrina, right? People who didn't evacuate. Look what happened. But you see this, and if you live through hurricanes, you realize you don't want to be the last hog at the trough. You don't want to be the last car on the interstate because A, you're not going to get anywhere, and B, there's no fuel. You waited too long. You got to get ahead of the curve. And again, what's it boil down to? Get off the X. Because if you know there's a hurricane coming, let's just use basic logic here. Okay, here comes Hurricane Katrina. If everybody in New Orleans left and went up to, I don't know, say Illinois, well, everybody would still be alive, right? Now, it's obvious people don't have that capability based on no money, no car, whatever. Okay, I got it. But it's logic. If everybody had left there, let it rake over the geography and the buildings, well, the people are still living. The people who got off the X early, they're fine. They'll recover. So what? It destroyed your house and you got no insurance. You're still alive. Don't wait till the last minute. If you wait until the last minute, let me see, and you get caught up in that shit, you're taking your life in your own hand for no reasons. Okay, how hard is it to throw everybody in the car with a tank of gas, get the hell out of there? and then all of a sudden it peters out. You're alive. You can always come back. It was a tank of gas, maybe a hotel room bill. Put that shit on the credit card and live to fight another day. All these Billy badasses that want to stay through a hurricane is stupid. I did the same thing myself through a few hurricanes, and I regretted it. One in particular, actually we were evacuating, and as I had everything loaded in the van at the last minute, the van is running, we're about to get in the van and leave, and the mount on the alternator or the water pump, something broke. All I heard was a big boom in the engine. That was it. We had to ride out a hurricane on our house, you know, one of the beach houses basically built on stilts. And it was like riding a surfboard during this whole time. Why? I waited till the last minute. Everybody else was already damn gone. That's another story. But literally, we were about to get in that van and get the hell out of town, and that damn mount broke. It's just Murphy's Law. It's my luck. We rode that shit out, and I ain't gonna lie, it was scary. I've been through some pretty bad hurricanes between living in Houston and Florida, but that one sucked because we were stranded. Ain't no mechanics. Ain't nobody gonna come fix that van because everybody's already evacuated. Got caught with my pants down, scared the shit out of us. So, where's the rally point? Sir, where's the rally point? When the shit hits the fan, it's motherfucking anywhere. It's anywhere but here. Anywhere but here. So what's the prep plan, right? My son's in there fired up. So, say this volcano right here cooked off right now. Well, it just depends on how it cooked off. If it's just grumbling and, you know, things are imminent in 2 or 3 days, we're leaving right now. We're leaving right now. Backpacks on, getting the hell out. Bus, damn taxi, whoever can get us away from here. Money is no object. If that was the scenario. Now, if the damn thing cooked off right now and started dropping ash, you'd have to hunker down until the ash stops falling. And then we're getting the hell out of here. Whether on foot, it doesn't matter. Kids on shoulders, light backpacks on, we're getting out of here if we have to walk the fuck out of here. Because there's no guarantee that it's not going to cook off again and get worse. I'm getting away from the threat. In the most efficient and expeditionary manner that I can. Hear those jets flying? That's due to this upcoming conflict with China. That's gonna cook off. So what do you put in a bug out bag, right? You need to go to Amazon and buy all this shit? No. Because most of this shit ain't gonna help you. It boils down, these backpacks in here, I'd throw all the canned goods, all the rice that we can carry, and let's roll. We don't have weapons here. In America, if you got weapons, that's different. Don't got weapons here. No firearms. I'd obviously grab the knives and stuff like that, and we're out. We're going. Fresh water, you know, this will be a huge debate, but there's so many fresh water sources. Carrying 100 pounds of water on your back doesn't make a whole lot of sense if there's fresh water sources in your area. If they're not potable, A, you can boil the water, B, filter it. There's ways to be able to drink water from natural sources of water. So carrying 100 pounds of water wouldn't be my priority. Now, if I was in the fucking desert, it would. Okay, but here, as long as you boil the water, there's plenty of rivers and streams, places where you can find fresh water, right? You know how long you can live off of a bag of rice? It ain't gonna win no awards for food of the year. You know, man, that rice was delicious. If you're hungry, it's delicious. That's why we got our asses kicked in Vietnam. Because the opposing side, they could live off of rice. They didn't have to have all these supplies that we as Americans have. Folks, the human body can survive a long time without food. So even if you're getting the hell off the X and you run out of food, you're not going to shrivel up and die that day. Okay? Now water, yeah, you gotta get some water. So trust me, I understand the priorities of the human body. But if there are natural sources of water, well, you don't need to carry 100 pounds on your back. B, if you run out of food, you're not going to die that day. Right? As fat as Americans are, I think a lot of Americans could live over a fucking year without eating any food and they still be good to go. Because you have so much food stored around your body, it's called fat. And so anyhow, I guess what I'm trying to get at is it goes along with, oh well, I got this huge truck, I got a box truck full of all this for my bug out vehicle. You don't need that either. Because say you got a huge bug out vehicle, one of these big huge, maybe you got a fucking deuce and a half or this big RV, whatever, it gets fucking 3 miles a gallon. What's your range? A, what's your range? B, that thing can't operate off-road. Once the highways get clogged up, you can't get nowhere with that big ass RV or that huge land machine that you got. Now, I was considering doing some overlanding around the US. I was like, what vehicle? Did some research and I settled on a Subaru Forester. Number one, it's made in Japan. Number two, that thing will go anywhere. Just watch the fucking videos. Number three, it's very fuel efficient. So if I lived in the States, I'd probably be driving a Subaru Forester. And my plan would be simple. If the shit hits the fan, everybody get in the goddamn car with, what do you call them, the bug out bags, whatever. And we're out of there before the masses figure it out. Once the masses figure it out, the roads are clogged, can't get nowhere. Number two, lines at the gas stations, and you're screwed. So it's pretty simple. Get off the X and get off the X early and get as far away from the conflict as you can. There you go. I just gave you the best prepping plan that don't cost you much of nothing. You don't even need bug out backpacks. Just throw the shit in some damn paper sacks, some canned goods, and some rice in the back of the Subaru Forester, a couple extra fuel cans, and get as far away from there as you can. Huge bug out vehicles, not smart. Plus you make a bigger target if you run into a hungry mob. Plus, that's a perfect example. Erupts can't go up. They couldn't go up. You can't go up small mountain roads. Military vehicles, they can't get up the fucking mountains. They're too big, they're too wide, they're too heavy. You know what could get up those mountains? A damn Toyota 4Runner could go anywhere in Afghanistan. The MRAP couldn't go nowhere in the mountains. Perfect example. So you got a big old, F-250 jacked up, loaded down. It's got an overall weight of about 8 million pounds. You ain't going up that mountain. You're not going down a goat trail. You're gonna get stuck. But I'll wave to you as I just slide around you in a Subaru Forester, getting the hell out of Dodge. Alright. So fuel economy, range, and also working that vehicle go. Bigger vehicles not always the best option. Again, the objective is survival day by day, not a 10-year plan. They say a plan never survives first contact, especially in combat, right? You have a plan where everybody's on the same sheet of music until you make that first engagement, and then the plan goes to shit. So your prepping plan, it's not going to survive very long. And again, you need to change your mindset from thinking, I can eat off this rice for 10 years, I ain't going nowhere. You will go. The damn round hits your house. I got an underground shipping container. It don't matter. When the wolf starts knocking at the door and there's 50 of them versus you, you're gonna go. You're gonna get the hell off the X. And that's what you should do to survive. So the only plan you should work on is how to get away from the chaos and the conflict. You know what the most ultimate prepping vehicle is? It's a damn sailboat. It's captain obvious, right? Load the sailboat down, shit starts hitting the fan, you jump on the sailboat, sail away from the conflict. There's no roadblocks, there's no hungry people, clogged roads, etc. You just start sailing in any direction away from the conflict. So again, when the bullets start flying, your 3,342 rolls of toilet paper in the basement don't mean shit. Literally and figuratively speaking. Because look at it like this. Even if there's a world war, there will still be places on the planet where, I don't want to say it's not affecting, but that area, civility hasn't broken down. So for example, the US goes to war with China. Probably one of the safest places would be Argentina. Alright, the southern tip of Argentina. Why? Because it's off the X. I'm not saying you're not going to get showered with radiation eventually, but nobody's fighting down in Argentina. That's just an example, right? Folks, I don't know if I made any sense during this video, but my only objective in anything I say or do is to invoke thought. So as long as I invoke thought, I win. How did that? Oh, I guess this goes back to me talking about doomsday preppers because I got 3 chickens in the freezer. And now Google's smart ass AI algorithm starts putting doomsday preppers in my damn YouTube home screen, what have you. That's funny. Alright, folks. Whew. It's a hot one out here. I'm sweating. I got aircon in there, but the kids were watching their was it Miss Rachel? Anyhow, watching their ABC songs. I didn't want to disturb them. I gotta go in and get me another cold beer, some aircon. I'll see y'all on the next one. I just wait for the comments. You don't know nothing about prepping. What do you know about survival? You don't know what you're talking about. And I got more than 3,342 rolls of toilet paper. I got well over 5,000. I don't know exactly how many I got because I can't get back far enough around the corner of the basement to count them damn things, but I know they're back there. Me and Ma got to arguing about that the other day. We got enough to wipe our asses for 13 years. Alright, I'm out of here. Crack myself up.